Welcome to the StockMentor.com studios here in the Black Hills of South Dakota. I'm your stock mentor, Brian Johnson. I'm making professional trading simple. And we had Fed Day today, and you can see by the chart what we saw in the markets. Not unusual to see it run up into a Fed Day talk, and then afterwards, and I recommended this to my subscribers, that you wait about an hour after the Fed talks to really make a move. It's very common that a directional start, about 15 minutes, maybe a half an hour after the Fed talks, and then it just kind of starts to it just turns around and starts to head the other way after about an hour's worth of waiting. It's like they're trying to draw people in, suck people in. This is what happened last time too. If you go back to the last Fed day, you'll notice that about an hour after the Fed talked is when the real move came. Before that, it was just kind of a setup move. I think it was trying to pull people in, get people excited. And it did the exact same thing. It just absolutely fell through the floor in the last hour, 45 minutes or so of trading. And that's exactly what we saw again today. So it's very hard to gauge what the Fed day will bring, but I always recommend that you wait about an hour after the Fed talks. I had been mentioning too these falling wedges, and these falling wedges actually played out extremely nicely. We got outside of these wedges. I said these are bullish patterns, and once they break this rising wedge, it's a good time to maybe enter defensible long. And they did climb quite a bit. Then I said, make sure you're out. I would suggest anyway that you're out by the time the Fed talks, and hopefully some of you did that. So we had a nice run up, a little pull back, and then what looked like was going to be another run up, and I really did expect it to at least get back to here and then see a reversal. And we didn't quite make it. Just couldn't quite get ourselves up there. So while I was expecting a little higher move before I don't know if I expected a crash, but I did expect a pullback, if nothing else. I expected it to get up here first, and we didn't see it, but still very playable. The last couple days. Outside of the wedge I mentioned was a good long, and then I said be done and be waiting for an hour after the Fed talk. So if you took the advice, you probably did very well today with your trading. We move on to a daily. You can see now that what we're looking at is a move back up into the 20-day moving average and a very sharp reversal at the end of the day. And everything moved right back down, gave us kind of an inverted hammer by the end of the day. And it stayed below the 20. So the bulls are going to have to push it back up and over this 20 if they're going to make any more headway. I still think that could happen. Maybe we see one more push down here to that 9600 area that I've been talking about. That option for me is still not off the table. I'm going to be going into that in a little bit more depth with my subscribers when this video is over with, but I think there might be some more merit to that. I'm going to have to take a look at that. NDX on a 60-minute, let's take a look, and you can see here where we came right back down to the 20-period moving average and stopped. That was a very logical place for it to pause. There's a couple different reasons for it to pause down here, but one of them being the 20-period moving average. So a very logical place, but once again, same type of action. Break of the wedge, nice move up, little pullback into support, a move up after the Fed talks, and then a big crash here towards the end. NDX on a daily, and you can see where it came up and touched the 50-day moving average and pulled back after hitting support right back down in here. The weekly, we're about midway through the week. Not going to worry about that quite yet until tomorrow or tomorrow night or maybe Friday. SPX on a 60-minute, same type of thing. Broke this wedge. Very defensible long play at this point. Nice run up, little pullback into support with a little push up here, and then the bigger move down. Big crash here. So we're all watching and waiting to see what tonight's overnight action will bring. Let me take a quick look and see if there's anything on the economic calendar for tomorrow. Looks like there's the initial claims are tomorrow morning, and then unemployment on Friday. So yes, a very busy end of the week when it comes to economic data. So we will be watching that very closely as we push forward here. If we get below this 1045-ish area on the SPX, a very logical place of next support would be this 1040 area, somewhere down in here. or this upper trend line here. I'd be watching this to see if it holds as support as well on the way back down. SPX on a daily, back here to the big fat green line, big move up. You can see it push up, come back down, and close below the 50-day moving average, much the same as all the rest of them did, with that little inverted hammer. Now that to me, some people say, oh, very bearish, very bearish. It's a reversal pattern. Well, we're only 3 days or 3 candles into this. We're 2 candles into it. Then we got the reversal candle. It isn't really enough for me to go on, so I'm going to wait till tomorrow to get confirmation on whether or not this candle is really a reversal candle. I'd like to see these types of things like way up here at the top of a really big move as opposed to kind of in the middle of a little sideways action. So I'm not convinced that this has any bearing on anything. I'm not convinced that this candle means anything at this point. We're going to wait till tomorrow. Very possible that this could continue to the upside tomorrow, every bit as much as it could continue to the downside. So this candle isn't a warning sign for me at all at this point. I need confirmation on this one. SPX on a weekly, don't care until tomorrow or Friday. VIX on a daily, though. You can see the bigger pullback we had right back into the support area before. A little bounce again up and above it. So now as this VIX starts to drop, if it does anymore, that's going to make those options a little bit more enticing because that's going to drop the value of the options as well as things start to move down. That includes all options across the gambit. So we'll be watching this VIX. I like that it held this. I would maybe expect a bigger pullback. Maybe I should say I would love to see a little bigger pullback, maybe right down here into this area on the VIX. Weekly, not going to matter. I'm not going to mind myself with it right now. Give it a couple of days.